Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. We're just going to take a few minutes to let some other folks join the call.
Hello.
Hi, we're just going to take a few seconds for those joining in right now. I'm just going to wait a minute or two, just let others log on.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Joanne, is that you?
Yes. Hi there. It's Joanne.
Hi.
I take it you can hear me okay?
Yes, perfectly.
Excellent. Thank you. Whew. Whew. Just made it.
All right, then I guess we can get started then. Thank you everyone for joining our Jeff Foundation's new virtual workshop series. For those of you who don't know, my name is Danielle Edwards. I'm the Community Engagement Manager at Jeff Foundation. We had to make the difficult decision to cancel all of our workshops during this time. So we wanted to make sure that we were still able to educate the community in a positive way during the virus, and make sure you guys are getting the information about clinical trials out to you. With that being said, I'd love to kick this off. Our first webinar will be hosted by Catabasis Pharmaceuticals, and we have Joanne Donovan, who is the Chief Medical Officer, on with us. So I'll pass this over to you, Joanne, and thank you so much for joining.
Hi there, everybody. I'm very glad to speak with you today. I know it's a difficult time for the community out there, lots of challenges, lots of stress. We wanted to share with you an update on where our trial was with etasolinexant at this point, and give you some more background about that. And certainly would be very happy to answer questions afterwards. So I think that we're going to start with the presentation at this point.
Hello, my name is Joanne Donovan, and I'm Chief Medical Officer for Catabases. Thank you for the opportunity to share information today about etasolinexant and our approach to developing a treatment for Duchenne. Catabasis is a publicly traded company, and during this presentation, I will be talking about things that may happen in the future. Etasolinexant is an oral drug in development for potentially everyone affected by Duchenne, regardless of mutation type. It is an NF-kappa B inhibitor and not a steroid. We have data supporting etasolinexant as a single therapy, and we also believe that etasolinexant has a role in combination with dystrophin-targeted therapies, such as exon skipping and gene therapy. We have seen that etasolinexant preserved muscle function and substantially slowed disease progression while being well tolerated in the phase 2 MOVE-DMD trial. Today, I'm going to introduce etasolinexant and how it works, and talk about our phase 3 Polaris Dmd trial and review past results. Etasolinexant is an investigational agent not currently approved in any territory. Etasolinexant inhibits NF-kappa B, and we designed it that way because of the potential for broad therapeutic benefit in Duchenne. So our intention by inhibiting NF-kappa B with etasolinexant is with the goal of improving not only skeletal muscle function, but preserving cardiac function and improving bone health with a decreased risk of fractures. Our fully enrolled phase 3 trial, Polaris Dmd, is a 12-month trial with etasolinexant for boys with Duchenne aged 4 to 7 up to their 8th birthday. Polaris is placebo-controlled as needed for the FDA. with 2 boys receiving etasolinexin from the beginning for each boy that receives placebo. After 12 months, all boys have the option to receive etasolinexin in our open label extension study called Galaxy DMD. We enrolled boys that have not been on steroids for at least 6 months, as there is a partial overlap in mechanism between etasolinexin and steroids. Boys enrolled in the trial were also able to be on a stable dose of Exondys 51. We expect to have results from this phase 3 trial in the 4th quarter of this year. In today's environment of COVID-19, our phase 3 trial is fortunately already up and running and is fully enrolled. As always, our top priority is the health and safety of the patients enrolled in the trial. Remember that visits are fairly infrequent, occurring every 3 months, and etasolinexin is an oral drug that patients are able to take at home. We continue to work closely with our clinical trial sites to continue the study by enabling the delivery of study drug to patients' homes, continued safety monitoring, and alternative ways of conducting study visits. We will continue to closely monitor the situation with COVID-19 to ensure the safety and continued conduct of the trial. In Polaris DMD, the primary endpoint is the North Star Ambulatory Assessment. You may be familiar with it from clinic visits. It includes activities like climbing up a step or rising from a chair. There are also 3 timed function tests that are age appropriate for 4 to 7-year-olds. We're also looking at growth, heart, and bone health in the Polaris DMD trial, as we believe etasolinexin has the potential to positively impact bone and heart health in Duchenne. We've seen boys continue to grow taller while taking etasolinexin, and we're monitoring the boys' growth in this trial. Here's a map of our clinical trial sites for Polaris DMD. We asked patient advocacy organizations, families, and physicians for their input in designing this trial. Site visits are every 3 months during the trial, largely due to the safety profile that we have observed so far, and our endpoints are measures that are representative of everyday life. I also want to mention Galaxy DMD, our open label extension study, in which everyone participating in Polaris DMD receives etasolinexin. We heard from families that had sons who participated in Move DMD that they have other sons affected by Duchenne and wanted them to receive etasolinexin. Therefore, we're enrolling eligible siblings into Galaxy DMD. Once boys complete Polaris DMD and continue into Galaxy DMD, their eligible siblings will also have the opportunity to receive etasolinexin in that trial. The primary focus of this Galaxy DMD study is to continue to evaluate long-term safety in boys. Due to the excellent safety profile of etasolinexin, we have seen to date, site visits in this trial are every 6 months. Now to review the results we've seen in the clinic with etasolinexin in the Move DMD trial. First of all, we've seen inhibition of NF-kappa B, showing that etasolinexin is working the way we expected it to. We also saw significant improvements in biomarkers, such as muscle enzymes, including CK. We've also seen improvements in muscle MRI, which measures muscle inflammation and fat. We saw improvements in assessments of function compared to the functional decline during the off-treatment control period, and we'll look at those results now. In the Move DMD trial, we enrolled 31 boys aged 4 to 7 up to their 8th birthday, not on steroids. The Move DMD trial had a built-in internal control period on the left, where we assessed boys off treatment and then when they started etasolinexin. The largely flat green horizontal line on each of these graphs shows boys have preserved muscle function and stabilized their disease progression through 72 weeks on etasolinexin compared to their off-treatment control period decline for the North Star Ambulatory Assessment and the 3-time function tests, the 10-meter walk-run, 4-stair climb, and time to stand. In more than 60 years of cumulative patient exposure, we have seen that etasolinexin was well tolerated. The majority of adverse events were mild in nature. The most common treatment-related adverse event was diarrhea, generally mild and transient. We are pleased to see that the boys on etasolinexant have grown like their unaffected peers, gaining height over the 72 weeks and a small amount of age-appropriate weight. On average, the boys grew a little more than 2 inches a year. As etasolinexant is not a steroid, we haven't seen and don't expect to see any of the typical steroid-associated side effects. Before I wrap up, I'd like to quickly introduce the Catabasis team. We're a close-knit, passionate team working hard to develop a potential new therapy with the hope of benefiting everyone affected by Duchenne. Our focus is on etasolinexant, our lead program for the treatment of Duchenne. We also recently announced a partnership with Duchenne UK to study etasolinexant in boys and men that are non-ambulatory. We will share more information about this potential phase 2 trial in the coming months. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you. For those of you who are interested in seeing updates along the way, we share frequent updates on social media, and you can follow Catabasis Pharma on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and check out our website where you can also sign up to receive our newsletter. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share.
Thank you so much, Joanne, for that update, and thank you so much for your commitment to the Duchenne community. With that being said, I would just like to open up the Q&A for anyone who has any questions that they would like to ask Catabasis. Please feel free to write a message to us.
Hi, Danielle. This is Joanne. I'm not sure if I have the, I'm not hearing the audio. One of the questions that we hear a lot is, for people who are involved in clinical trials, is what's going to happen with my study visits, and that is something that varies from site to site. One of the things, as I mentioned, about etasolinexant is that the drug is given in capsules, that therefore the sites can provide to the patients. They can ship them out if they're not able to come to the site, or the site is not available to see patients at that time. It's important that you know that all of the sites have are able to get in touch with the patients and provide any safety information, any information in terms of answering questions that they may have along the way. We are fortunate, we are a fair distance into the trial. The boys have been on the study drug now for more than 6 months. And we know from our previous experience, as well as in this trial, that the boys are doing well, and the patients and the parents can speak to the investigators. The investigators can call the families to find out any safety concerns that they may have. And as we are moving along in the study, the sites and Catabasis and also experts in the field are working to make sure that we can safely capture some of the measures that, the functional measures that we're assessing as part of the study. So we're working to make sure that we understand ultimately the effects that etasolonexant has on Duchenne, and do everything we can to bring a treatment forward for the families.
Thank you, Joanne, for providing that update. Again, if anyone has any questions, feel free to just type it in where that message is, and we could be able to see those and answer them.
Okay.
All right. I would just like to say thank you so much again to Joanne. If there's no more questions at this time, I don't want to be keeping anyone longer than I have to. Oh, I think we have one.
Yeah, so what a question is about the Galaxy DMD study, and that is the extension study where boys who have been in the Polaris study for a year would then transition into the open label extension part of that. And we have been moving kids over into the open label extension, and the sites are working with the families to make sure that that happens as expeditiously as possible when they are due to do that. So we are the Galaxy DMD, the open label extension for boys and their eligible siblings, is open in many sites, and the team is continuing to work on making sure that's open and available for boys when they finish the 12 months in the Polaris study. So we anticipate that that's happening, and that is. We see that very much as a part of the Polaris study to understand how etasolonexant affects the boys, not just for the year, but also beyond. So that's important, and we know that that's important to you who have participated in the study for this period of time. So, and we're doing everything we can to minimize the exposure to minimize travel during this time. Fortunately, the study visits are only every 3 months during the phase 3 study, the Polaris study. During the Galaxy study, they're only every 6 months. And they actually start in the Galaxy open label study at the same time they're finishing Polaris, so there's no extra visit there as well. Thank you for the question. I actually am looking back through the questions. In what we have been able to do in terms of making sure that the study drug gets to patients is we have been working with the sites to allow them to ship the drug directly to the patients from the site, so that that can happen and there's no interruption of supply of the drug for the boys. So that's something that is, was a top priority to make sure that was not interrupted during this period. We are, on the last slide, we're also, you can, anybody can contact us. Of course, if you're in the trial and you have a question about something like drug supply, about safety, we encourage you to get in touch with your coordinator at the site. But we're also available to answer questions, and you can reach us and follow us on social media, as well as by signing up for the newsletter on the site, if that's helpful. So.
Thank you again, Joanne. And if anyone has any other questions, definitely feel free later to send us an email and we can share that with Catabasis as well. But like Joanne said, definitely follow up on their social media, Facebook, Twitter, and any questions you may have. You know, they're a great company and very easy to work with, and we'll be happy to answer anything that you have to say. If that is all for today, then I will be closing out the webinar and just want to say thank you one more time to Catabasis, and thank you all so much for joining us today. I look forward to doing more of these, and we look forward to hearing your feedback. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.